Right, so I'm joined by Keith from Everton, aren't we? And one of the popular Evertonians on Twitter. Keith, thank you for your time and thanks for coming on GrandOldTeam TV today.
No worries, Adam. No worries.
Obviously, really appreciate it, mate. We're just talking about your cat there. I was going to actually bring mine in, and we were going to maybe do like a little cat contest, but I thought it was probably not very appropriate for an Everton fan channel. So, mate, obviously we've had a lot that's happened over the last 24 hours with the transfer window closing and all the shenanigans that went on last night. But I wanted to get your thoughts on the transfer window in general, so that's where we'll start, mate. So how did you feel that it's gone then, this transfer window?
Well, it's a wee bit grim, isn't it? With everything that was built up prior to the window, with the new shareholder coming in and 100 million to spend, and none of it seems to really have developed into anything. So we've not done too badly. I mean, we've thickened out the squad a wee bit, got rid of some deadwood, but I think losing Stones was a big mistake.
Oh, so you were one of the Evertonians then that would have liked us to keep him then?
I would have kept him I would have thrown as much money as we could at him and kept him for as long as we could. The boy's a future England captain. Within 10 years, he'll be captain in England. He's superb. He's a confidence player, and you could see last season it was knocked out of him. But on his day, he's one of the best centre halves in the country.
No, I agree, mate. And do you know what? That's interesting that you should say that, because I think you're probably within the minority in the end there with regards to like the fan base and our attitudes towards Stones. And last year, one thing that doesn't really get highlighted, and when I speak to lads who aren't Evertonians and they talk about John Stones and they say, oh, he wasn't that good last year. You've done really well. But I think people, what they need to consider is who he had alongside him last year. I mean, he had a half-fit Jagielka, Funes Moria, I know you're a big fan of from Argentina, them knee slides. But obviously he's come and he's new to the Premier League. Seamus Coleman forgot how to play football last year. Leighton Baines was injured for a bit of it and was well off the boil as well. And then he had Tim Howard behind him and Roberto Martinez telling him what to do. So I like that you've given the benefit of the doubt there. But he has moved on then. So what do you think with regards to Ashley Williams then as a replacement?
He seems to be. I mean, I was sceptical at first. I thought it was quite a bit of money for an older player, but he seems to have brought a bit of leadership in. I mean, you watched the game at the weekend there against Stoke, and last season we'd have conceded a goal there, but they would have had one break up the pitch, heads would have fallen apart, and they'd have scored. And it just seemed to be so much more organised. You could see him dragging the back line out. He just kept everybody in order, and I think that's been something that's been missing.
No, I agree, and I think with Williams you get that, and this is what I've said on a previous video as well. You get that aggression with him. Do you know what I mean? And we've missed that. Yeah. I was saying how centre forwards have come to Goodison over the past probably 2 years, and they've probably looked at it and thought, I'm gonna have an easy day today. And I think with someone like Ashley Williams, it's not gonna be so easy for them moving forward. But in terms of other signings, then Balassi, what do you think about him?
I'm very much on the fence there still. I've always, whenever I've seen him at Crystal Palace, he seems to be, if he's got 60 metres of space that he can punt the ball into and sprint like a madman, he's all right. But when he's in a tight space, he just seems a wee bit sort of doesn't know what he's doing. So I'll stick with my summary for now of a fast black Aidan McGeady. But we'll see. We'll see how he does.
Yeah, hopefully he'll be slightly better than Aidan McGeady. I mean, I get that you've got concerns, Keith,
he can't be any worse, can he?
No, do you know what I mean? And Stecklenburg obviously is another lad that we brought in. I think we were all a little bit like, at first, all right, so Fulham's second choice keeper, I think people were referring to him as, but he's evidently a lot better than that. Have you been impressed with him, and would you have liked to have seen Everton go out and get a goalkeeper?
Well, I think we missed a trick by not going for Hart. I think especially the deal that was sort of muted about, where City were going to pay 90 grand a week of his wages just to get him out of the club for a bit. I mean, they seem desperate to get rid of. He's a proven international, solid the odd mistake, but he's a solid enough keeper. And after 5 years of Tim Howard, it'd just be a blessing. But
so you've been impressed with Stecklenburg though so far?
I think he's been superb. I don't know how he wasn't getting a game for Fulham. because he's been superb so far. Some of his shot stopping is outrageous, especially in the Spurs game.
Oh
Again,
yeah.
we go back to last season. We'd have lost that 3 or 4-1. As soon as they drew level, we'd have lost that. But some of the saves he pulled out were unreal. So I've been impressed. I don't mind him holding down the number one shirt for now.
No, I agree. I'm with you. Although I personally, I've got a bit of a thing for Begovic. Not like that. I mean, do you know what I mean? I like him.
He's a good-looking boy.
He is, and he speaks quite well as well whenever he's on the telly. But I think he's a really, really good goalkeeper. And apparently Chelsea in the end said he wasn't available. But I mean, in the summer, or January, that's who I would try and pinpoint if I was Koeman.
That's it. So yeah,
Yeah.
He'd be a good move, a good fit for the club.
Yeah, but as you say, if Stekelenburg can continue in the way that he's going, then we're not going to have too many issues. However, with that said, Tim Howard's last season at Everton, the bar's not set that high.
That's it, isn't it?
I think it was you that may have invented the old star jump thing on Twitter. And as long as Stekelenburg's not doing star jumps over the ball, then I think we're he's done all right there.
Aye.
And what about Idrissa Gueye then? Have you been impressed with him?
Superb. He's from the minute he came into the team, he's looked like he's been there for years. He's a throwback to Carsley and Gravison in that he's everywhere. He's into every tackle. It just seems to be wherever the ball goes, whenever the team's coming forward at us, he's there 2 seconds ahead of them. And it looks like an absolute steal at 7 million.
Yeah, no, I agree. I've been really impressed with him. I've said on a few videos that I've done as well. He makes me tired whilst I'm watching him. He doesn't stop, mate. And,
no, he compliments Barry as well. He does the running for Gareth Barry, and lets him do his own thing and lets him get forward and score, which was nice.
Yeah, against West Brom. Yeah. So do you feel that maybe we can get a little bit more out of Gareth Barry then this season?
I think I've got a horrible feeling this might be his last season because I'd love to see him go forever because he's been one of the best. He's probably, for me, the best signing of the Martinez era.
Yeah. Oh, without a shadow of a doubt. Oh, what? So, better than Lukaku?
I would say so, yeah, because he's done more to win us points than Lukaku. I mean, Lukaku scored, especially last season, scored a hatful of goals, but it always seemed to be in games that we were winning already or sort of comfortable in. Whereas Barry was the difference sometimes between winning a game 1-0 and drawing or getting beat. So I think he was a really good, and he's brought leadership in as well. He was the real leader of the Martinez era.
Yeah, I mean the game at Anfield last season, which we don't want to try and think too much about. But and I get what you're saying there in terms of actually turning up quite frequently. Again, a lot of people had criticisms of Gareth Barry last season. He went off the boil a little bit with regards to how good he was when he first signed for Everton. But I think he just, even in that game, I mean, I remember him chasing around in the first 20 minutes, and he was one of the only ones who probably applied themselves that night. So
that first season under Martinez when he came in, he was something else.
Yeah, he was astronomical. Yeah, definitely. And I'm with you. I'd like to see him go on forever, but I'm probably thinking we've probably only got one more season left with him now. I think he's into his last year anyway. Because I remember actually after the first season, I think Martinez gave him a 3-year contract, and a few people, didn't we raise eyebrows because he was going to go off to the States, I think.
Yeah.
And then, I think this would probably time it that this would be his last season. But just on the transfer window then, Keith, why didn't Everton sign some of the players that they were heavily linked with, in your opinion? What is it where did Everton go wrong?
I think it's not having European football to offer is a big thing. You can't go out and sign the best players in Europe without European football unless you're going to offer them $250,000 a week, sort of thing. And I don't think we're anywhere near that league yet. So it's going to be a slow process for me. It's going to take a couple of years to get up to the level where we want to be. So the signings we brought in, I mean, none of them are really sort of inspirational, big money bag signings, but it's thickened out a squad. It's solid players that can come in and do a job. Not really sort of match winners per se, but they'll fit into the team all right.
Yeah, so there was no like big marquee signing, was
Yeah,
there?
I
Yeah, I
mean
know.
everybody wants to see that, but I mean that's part of the Sky Sports era. It's a trumpet all this. Such and such has gone here for 50 million, and he's signed for them for 70 million, and it looks good. It looks good to 14-year-olds that watch YouTube, and that's how they judge a footballer. And oh, look at the tricks he can do. Look, he's doing overhead kicks and stuff.
Look at
But
his stats. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
stats. It's all about stats.
yeah.
These days. Chat Football Manager stats.
Yeah, I
What's
mean,
that all about, by the way? Sky Sports News judging players by Football Manager stats.
I
What a
know
load
what.
of mince.
We'll get. I tell you what. We'll get on to the state that is Sky Sports News on deadline day in a second. Yeah. So you're saying that it's a slow process. So I with what you said there, I gather then you're willing to just see how it goes this season, and you're not gonna get too upset by what we've just witnessed there.
It's not going to get any worse than last year.
No.
I think, to be honest, I'd be happy with if we had a solid season in the league, top eight, and then really went for it in one of the cups. Either of the cups, not bothered which, but really went like none of this weakened teams against lower league opposition. Full team out, statement of intent, and actually go out and try and win it. I
Yeah.
thought I'd be happy with that. At least players trying to win the game. I mean, you saw the semi-final against Man United last season. That was a great opportunity to go and win silverware. The first silverware in a generation.
I know.
But they just, their arses went completely, and there was no fight, no desire to win. It was horrible to watch.
It was.
So,
I remember being in the. I went obviously in the toilets at half time and listening to some of the lads talking in there at that game, and they were like, why have we come down here? It's the semi-final of the FA Cup, and these lads aren't even running around. It was disgraceful. Obviously, in the second half, it picked up a little bit, but I completely agree with what you're saying. A decent cup run, having a good go at either of them or both. A decent finish, 8th around there, and hopefully a win at Anfield, because that's another thing we need to do this generation. I mean, I don't know, Keith. I don't know how old you are. How old are you, mate? Around roughly whereabouts?
31 now. I might look older, but I work with chemicals and sleep on my face.
Mate, I was gonna say you're about my age, mate. 27 around that mark. But the point being is that me and you, this is disgraceful, but we can't remember too many wins at Anfield, so that'd be nice, and a decent finish, and then hopefully a trophy as well. It'd be a fantastic season.
Yeah, I'd take that. I would. Even if we went to Anfield and competed after the last 2 years, they've just rolled over and had their bellies tickled. So I mean, if we went and fought, and even if we drew, even if we didn't win, just go out there and give them a game rather than lying over for them.
Yeah.
A win would be, I think, if we win at Anfield, that'll be me. I'm off to town.
Yeah, definitely. I'd probably join you. I would most definitely join you. So let's just talk then for a second about the circus that is deadline day yesterday. And one thing that's come out of that is Jim White, the guy who hosts that show. I think Sky Sports just reel him out for that one, and he does the deadline day. He says, and at the time of filming, we've had no confirmation from the club or anybody. He's been sharing messages on behalf of Fahad Moshiri. You've probably seen all of this anyway. What are your thoughts on this then, Keith? Do you see that this is legitimate? Do you think that Fahad Moshiri is all of a sudden going through Jim White?
Well, I think the way I look at it, right, you look at Moshiri, he's given one interview to the official club website, but he's discussing transfer policy with a journalist, a second-rate journalist. Can't see it myself. I think it's a load of nonsense. I think it's designed to drum up drama and get people watching and sitting there watching Sky Sports News till 1 o'clock in the morning, saying, "Oh, have we signed in? What's going on?" Like you said, it's a circus, and it's a soap opera for football transfers. And I saw the best description of it yesterday was somebody on Twitter saying, "There's not a chance I'm giving up one of my days' holidays at work to watch billionaires throw money at each other on the news." And it's a great summary of it for me.
Yeah.
I'd do away with transfer windows altogether, to be honest, and just have it open all year round like it used to be.
Yeah.
But that's a discussion for another day. That could go on for hours.
Of course, of course, and just so your claim is that it's there's a high chance that it's not legitimate. I'm with you there. It doesn't make any sense for Ed Moshiri. He hasn't said a lot so far. He's got a whole PR communications department within Everton. You know what I mean? But then on the flip side, people are saying, Jim White, he's got to be careful pretending that he's receiving these messages from Fahad Moshiri. And you would think as well, Keith, if somebody was having him on, they'd have probably come out and said, by now. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah. I would. If I was pulling this one off, mate, I wouldn't have got much past last night before I was on there again, you know?
Yeah. Well, you would think the club could come out and put it to bed with a simple statement.
Yeah.
Which they seem reticent to do, which gives it, I mean, that just fuels the fires a bit more. But I saw somebody describe it as the Sky Sports news girls getting their own back on Jim White for being a wee bit handsy at the Christmas party.
Hey, I've just had a thought though. You're well known and renowned for having a bit of a laugh on social media. You're not behind these Fahad Moshiri things, are you, Keith? No, right.
You might say that I couldn't possibly comment.
We'll leave that down to the people watching this to decide whether or not you're guilty on that one. So just on Fahad Moshiri, then we'll wrap it up with him, Keith. There's been a bit of a murmur today amongst Evertonians. Is he the real deal? Is he actually skint? Who is this fella? In your opinion, how do you view him at the moment, Fahad
Moshiri? Well, he's a genuine pound billionaire, so it's hard to see how he's skint. I think a lot of it was the reason we haven't spent is the market wasn't there for decent players at a sensible price. I mean, you look at some of the transfer fees that have been quoted this summer. I mean, Watford were trying to get 25 million for Troy Deeney. It's absolutely scandalous. And if you want to go out and buy top-rate players, you're now talking 50, 60 million. And that's if the club want to sell. They don't want to sell. They then turn around and say, oh no, we want 80 million. It gets to a point where can you really chuck your whole budget at one player, or do you want to spread it over a few? I'm going to give him more than one window before I start jumping down his throat, because obviously we've just had 11, 12 years of Bill Kenwright looking down the back of the sofa for 50 pence pieces to pay for Jean Moutinho over 7 years. I'll give him a wee bit longer before I'm getting too sceptical of him. Yeah. Plus, he's Iranian, so there's a good chance he could lay his hands on some sort of nasty weaponry. So I'm not going to speak in a public forum here where this is going to go out on the internet. And revolutionary guard might find out. The next thing you know, I'll have ninjas coming up the walls of my house and slotting me while I'm asleep.
Do you know what, mate? I've got to be more careful. I've put you in a position, I realise, with that now.
I'm a target now. I can't go out in public now without getting chased down the street.
Keith, you want to watch it because those ninjas will be after you for pulling Jim White's leg like you've been doing with these these little messages, mate. No, I agree. And very sensible, very rational and quite humorous as well. Just for anybody watching this, mate, I know you write a bit for Everton, aren't we? And obviously you're on Twitter. What's your handle now?
The handle now is at Keef. KEEF actually I don't know what it is. Keith 1985 _.
Right, okay, cool, got there in the end. Look, everybody, if you're watching this, get over and follow Keith on Twitter. He's well worth it. And also, you're doing any writing for Everton, aren't we? Then at the moment, I've seen a few things.
I put out a piece the other day. Came out on what are we on today? We're on Thursday today. Thursday. Put a piece out on Tuesday, just a monthly review. No tactical analysis whatsoever, because as you can probably tell from the last half hour, I haven't got a clue about football tactics. It's just, I go for the cheap laugh and the cheap cliche, and I get to swear at Mark Hughes, which makes me happy because I can't abide the man. So there we go. Everton aren't we are nice. They let me put it up. They give me the forum to spout nonsense on the internet. God bless them.
Same with GrandOldTeam with me, to be fair. You've just pretty much described this this YouTube channel. But no, I honestly really appreciate your time, Keith. Fantastic speaking to you, and we'll do this again sometime.
Yeah, no worries. Speak to you soon.
Speak to you soon.